And this manager was a writer, so asked me to be over. I always told myself that I will not repeat the mistakes that the then manager, is doing with me, right? And eventually, I accumulated a lot of enough gray hair to become a manager, and then I had told myself that if ever I become a manager, if I get to distribute salaries, I'll distribute them equally, so everybody's happy, right? And I'll be a very fair person. If I have awards to give everybody, then only I'll give awards. Otherwise, I'll not create unnecessary disturbance, right? Either promote everybody or don't promote anybody. Or I wouldn't, give differential treatment like, micromanage somebody and give a lot of space to some other people, right? I should have equal treatment to everybody. I should treat everybody the same way, so that people don't lose their sleep over why I'm getting this treatment, why me? Because I was a victim of all of that. So I decided to be like a very good manager when I really become a manager. And then when I actually become a manager, there's a department in each company, right? It's called HR department. So they told me that I don't agree that you have all the star performance in your team. There is a bell curve, you have to fix them into this curve. You have to segment your workforce. They used to throw a lot of terminology at me. They sent me to a lot of training courses like situational leadership and all that. And so I decided I'll call some of them here, really, to tell you who the real victims are. Right? So I have with me Jaya Pathak from BMC HR department. Currently, so she is with BMC for the last 9 years, and she's done a lot of HR functions within BMC. Currently, she handles recruitment, but she's part of L&D, part of general management, several functions. She worked at Geometric for 3 years, but then for almost 9 years she's here, so she knows a lot of folks. Then we have Saurabh Shah from Capita. He's also from HR. He's in HR for about 8 years. He started in Tata Technologies, then his next and
Tata Technologies US was for 2 years, then was
Photon. Right. So he was in the US for 2 years, and then he's selected as one of the top 100 promising HR professionals, upcoming HR professionals. So I'm very glad to have you here. Then it's not always done in isolation, right? It's a plot. So you have your own managers also doing that. So I have Mr. Mukul Pandit here. I don't think it needs an introduction, so I'll just move on. And then we have Sachin Sanani. So Sachin is a technical publications or information design and development manager at BMC. So he's my really partner in crime when I do all those unfair things to my team, right? So here you are. I'll just open with my question as to when I was telling them that I really wanted to be a fair manager when I was not a manager. What do you think, according to you, is a fair manager?
So I think when we talk about fairness, as you rightly said, that you would want to be, you would want to reward everyone equally. You would want to see everybody's happy faces, and everyone should feel that this is really the organization is treating me fairly. But also, I think the definition of a fair manager would be someone who gives voice to their people and who genuinely is concerned about the growth and development of their own people. And when we talk about rewarding fairly or compensating everybody fairly, it is about also the performance, because the manager has to take a lot of things into consideration when he or she is looking at rewarding someone. I think performance would be prime most. So the manager has to look at performance and then reward their employees accordingly. So I would really think that a fair manager is someone who treats their people with a lot of dignity, respects their work, and is allowing the team to grow and prosper in their jobs. So that, according to me, would be a fair manager.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? Can close it, guys.
You said giving voice to the team members. Sometimes if they tend to be noisy, I mean, some of your team members might be pretty vocal about their needs, and some of them might be really shy. So giving that voice to those shy people definitely would matter, but then doesn't it happen that some people will start cribbing or demanding all the time, and some people won't say a word?
Yeah, so we have seen, a lot of situations where, the baby who cries the most gets the most attention. So that is a situation. But then as a manager grows into the role, he or she understands how to handle, such people, how to look beyond just the noise, and get into where the manager can actually discuss about, what is the real issue and how to handle that. Shift the focus from just, addressing the noise and looking at what the issue is bothering. I think there you make a difference as a manager.
Yeah, possibly, the role of a manager is, it's like you're sitting at the fence where you're going to be pushed by either the HR per se or your team members. So as Jay was just mentioning that, in terms of the manager, he has to be very judicial in the way he operates. So the first and foremost thing which I believe, being a manager myself, is the level of confidence which you could inculcate in your team. So when you take a specific decision, it should be in line with the concept of different strokes for different folks. So for example, I might have a team member who is keen to go on site. I might have another team member who is not really keen to go on site but wants to get into technical leadership. So as a manager, the first and foremost thing is build confidence within the team. And second thing, which kind of covers everything, is have a fair understanding of what the skills and competencies of your team are. What are the strengths of every individual, where the individuals lack, so that when he takes a decision or when he decides to treat someone, he decides that on the basis of facts and data. So when there's a logical decision which is taken, then I believe there's less of controversy around that.
Yeah. So Sachin, this is all good theory. How do you get all this data? I don't believe you managers get that data.
I'll use some non-technical terms. It's like being a parent, right? When you start, you don't know what to do with baby, and the baby grows up, and as they grow, you realize what needs to be done. Managing a team is very much like that, right? And there are times when you think, oh, I need to be strict with this person because he's now studying. Exams are coming up, he's running after girls, whatever. And then there is the girl who's studying all the time, so the boy thinks that she's getting all the attention from the parents, she's getting all the gifts. But I think it's very situational, right? So it's just like the family, right? You need to grow it, give what is needed at that time. And kids don't always agree that parents are doing the right thing. But eventually you realize that's what needs to be done.
because you're not the kid who's not getting that thing you're clapping. I'm sure if it was your real manager giving you this speech, you would say, but I'm a better kid than the other kid.
That's the fight between the kids all the time.
So do you ever take us seriously or do you always think we're kids?
Depends how you came to me, right? So if you came to me for advice, then I'll give you advice based on whatever I have experienced. If you just want to talk to me, I'll try to be a friend. Otherwise, we'll do it business-like.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, suppose a child who's not studying, okay? He studies for say 40% to start, and the pass mark is 40, and you want him to excel. Okay? Now, but you know, he'll say, if you push me, I'll go. And then for you to find another person, and then the release time and so on and so forth, it's very easy to find the transition, to bring the other person, to find the right person. So you say, okay, 40% is fine for me, so and it happens. So how do you handle that?
Okay, so building on that example of a family, right? I know so many parents who made their child repeat 12 or 10 just because they didn't get the right marks. They passed, but it wasn't taking the cut for the engineering or the medical college they wanted to put them in. So that's what you do with whoever you're working with, right? So if they're not making the cut, you work with them again. Give them a chance, explain to them what's happening. Maybe not let them work from home. Just like you're going out late evening might be cut off in the family, right? Maybe your pocket money will be cut, so here I will do something else. Right? So you might call it micromanagement, you might call it policing, but it's all situational, right? So what you are doing, and in the best interest for both of us, I will take some decisions based on my experience. So what I have seen in the past, what works, and of course we experiment too. Sometimes it goes wrong, sometimes it goes right. So there's going to be both sides.
Can I repeat that question in straight terms? You are okay with mediocre performance because somebody threatens you of resignation, which you think is costly. Was that the question? Correct?
So the answer to that question is no, right? And I'm not saying it just because I'm here. In fact, yesterday or day before yesterday, I was talking to somebody in my team, and I said if somebody came to my desk and resigned, or said I have an offer letter, give me a hike, I'll say go.
Take a hike.
Right? Whoever it might be my topmost performer. I will not negotiate it. Right? If you want to really talk to me, come and talk to me. Right? If you're going to threaten or it's bargaining, right? Don't bargain. Let's discuss.
So are you all saying that this really happens? Okay. I believe
So there's a related question to this line of thinking. Right? Certain organizations are not against such a way of functioning, right? When the person is leaving, we will give them a hike, or we'll try to keep them back, right? Why can't we approach it a little more actively? Why can't management, HR, go and see what's the problem and solve it at the right time rather than wait for?
Why don't you get the signals from us? We are always giving you signals. Why don't you get the signals from us? Why do I really need to come and say, I quit, before you say, I promote?
So I think in VMC we do it a little differently. We try and look at these very proactively, and when the manager comes and actually discusses, we try to take action there. So what helps here is really looking at segmenting your talent, understanding your talent. It's not easy to just do the same things for a larger team. So you have to really understand your talent and place them rightly where they are. So you have to identify who your top talents are, which are the people with certain issues that you need to help them through, and which are your solid, very, very good performers that are there, but not really, superstars. So once you do that kind of a segmentation, it is easier to address these issues, and you will, I would think that, you'll have lesser situations where someone just comes and kind of threatens you either or. So to avoid such things, the best way is to really understand your talent, break them up, and then use the right strokes for the for each of those. And I think compensation, of course, plays a very big role in keeping people engaged and motivated. And any other form of reward. So you'll have to really understand who are the people who are looking at higher compensation. Do they really need that right now? Or is it somebody who stayed in the job for a long time, needs to look at a different role, needs to look at a job rotation. So all of that plays a big role. So it's not always money that is motivating everyone. So I think those are areas that a manager needs to look and then come to a conclusion and not be held at ransom at any point. So as HR, we would always enable our managers to go and talk to their talent in this way.
Yeah, in fact, just adding up to what Jaya said, at Capita, I could proudly talk about this. We have a very a proactive HR approach to this specific issue. We have built a risk to retention model where similar thing. We have segmented our talent in terms of the top performers, the meets expectation performers, and the medium performers. And we have given them a rating scale in terms of 0 to 50, where above 9 is something like high risk to retention. And this is again on factual data based on profiles available on the job portal, profiles available in LinkedIn. Then in terms of comp positioning, where have I placed the talent in terms of internal media and external media. So we have arrived at a very, very scientific figure in terms of what is the risk to retention. And this data has been shared with all our stakeholders in terms of the business heads. So they have visibility in terms of predictability, in terms of who the possible attrition is going to be within the team. And then we have actually devised specific initiatives and strategies around people. So then we have put a bucket of reasons of exit, and then we have tried to address it in terms of those people. So that's what we have done. Another example I'll just quote and take a question is at Tata Technologies, we took up a specific initiative which I think was a good success, where HR actually became very proactive. And probably this is the modern way of HR. We became very proactive, and then we started an initiative called as one-to-one. So wherein an HR person was responsible to talk to every individual every 121 day. So the HR was supposed to go and talk to, and Tata Technologies was not a small organization, 5,000 plus employees, 40 HR guys, but then everybody had a responsibility to go and talk, document what the issues were. We had put it up on our internet website, what the issues were, what action has been taken, and we saw a significant change in the entire, people or employee engagement approach which we had.
Right. So continuing this conversation, usually to do all the good things you require budget, right? For retaining people, to promoting them. Now, a lot of times this has been observed in organizations.
A lot of times it's been observed in
Organizations that there is.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. That there is no budget to retain or to do all the good things. So the person leaves, and then there is suddenly budget to hire at a very high salary.
Well, I will slightly differ with this. With the changing times, I think HR and the management has realized for the fact that we always have this technical term again, compa ratio, which is basically the ratio which is calculated for the person who left his salary and what is the salary of the new coming person. So there's a focused stress which is now being given very often, and I do not agree with the statement that there is no budget for retention. There is always a strategy for retention, and it is just up to the organization, in terms of the culture, the values, and it goes according to that. But I don't agree with the fact that there is no budget for retention.
I just wanted
To get it out.
See, he is a manager. He's not a true representative of this law.
I think this whole line of questioning is probably needs to change. because we are trying to hold managers as culprits and say that we demand an explanation, as if the managers have performed a crime. You know, managers are being being held guilty. You didn't have budget when I was working out, and now you have. I think this line of questioning is probably wrong, right? First of all, try and understand that individuals are different and they have to be treated differently. There are different things that motivate people differently. You may be motivated by money. In your case, I'll probably give you more money than what you demand. But then I'll probably not give you a growth opportunity because you are always happy with money and not growth. There could be somebody else who will say, I don't mind if my salary is same, but put me on a better challenging project. So try and understand that don't compare yourself as 1:1 with your colleagues. They are different human beings, they come from different cultural backgrounds, different family upbringing, and maybe a different value system. Moreover, their priorities in their life could be changing. Somebody has just got married, somebody is going to retire. Right? Somebody has just got a baby and doesn't want to go abroad. Right? So different people are motivated by different things depending on circumstances. We have to look at them and then take the decision. So instead of going to the manager and saying that, was I not worth so much? Probably not. Right? One more thing which I sincerely think everybody should learn is negotiation. And when I say negotiation, I don't mean getting more money. Please don't misunderstand me. Negotiation teaches you that there are a lot of things that you can give and take. Correct? Now, while you want to take something, isn't it obvious that you may also want to give something? A lot of people simply come with threatening, saying that give me this, otherwise I am leaving. This is bad negotiation. This is not negotiation at all. These people don't know what is negotiation in the first place. They don't know what is a move, how to make the moves, how to change the cards that you are putting on the table. So this is a bad negotiation style, that I am getting a job somewhere else and this is offer letter. So as he said, I would probably do the same thing. I may not even have a discussion with him. The other point was, couldn't you see it? Why did you wait for this? Couldn't you talk to me earlier? My question to you is, couldn't you talk to your manager earlier? If you are so busy, don't you think your manager is also going to be busy? Do you make a routine to talk to your manager at least once in 2 months? Do you talk to your colleagues at the end of every project and ask them, how do you think I could have improved, I could have learned something and moved forward? Are you evaluating yourselves? Oftentimes, people are motivated more by somebody else's progress. Correct? So it's like, he got a 25% hike, he told me just now. And you know what that means? The person may have got 15% rise, he'll come out and tell you 25%. You'll go inside, demand 30%, you'll be out of the company, he has got what you wanted. It's as simple as that. People don't understand negotiation. The only card that they have, correct? आपके हाथ में वो स्पीड का इक्का होता है, salary, and you think this is the maximum that it can come down to, and you want to play that card first and foremost, and then you say, okay, now play. What if it is not the truth? अगर वो हुक्म नहीं है तो उसको सिल्वर का धुर्री काट देगा यार. Are you getting the point? A number of times people come to the table and play their first trump card, which is the heaviest card. That's not the way to negotiate. Have you been proactive? Have you been talking to your manager? Do you know your pluses and minuses? Have you evaluated your team members? What can you tell me about your own team members? Are you not evaluating them? Correct? Why are we going and why is everything coming down to salary? Is that the only thing an organization gives you? There are organizations which will give you much more salary than what you will probably bring, but you will not want to do the things they'll ask you to do. Aren't you happy? Don't you feel privileged that you are part of a group that is working as a team? Isn't it a privilege? Do you want to get out and work in a team which is not working as a team? They are mostly a group of people whose priorities are conflicting. Their energies are misaligned. What they are producing, God knows. Correct? So look at the long term. Don't just look at the short term. It's a good idea to go to people and talk to them when there is no need for it. Right? I think a lot of people don't make their managers friends. They look at their managers as people on the other side of the table. You should actually think that your manager should sit next to you and the HR could be on the other side of the table. And see, my point is, your manager should know more about you than your HR. Correct? When you are saying something, shouldn't your manager be there to say that, I think I second that, I think he's right. On the other hand, what people do is they get into the fight with the management, and when the management takes the wrong decision, they escalate to HR. Now you teach this guy. This is a wrong approach.
So can I?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think Paresh needs to talk.
अभी समझा कैसा होता है?
Yeah, hello. Yeah. So mainly why would people do that? That we come with a resignation and if you're giving me a hike, it's fine, but I'm leaving. Maybe an accumulation of like last 3 years. Every year I come to you, you do this much work, we'll promote you. Doesn't happen in the first year. You do this much work, I'll promote you. Doesn't happen in the second year. You do this much work, I'll promote you. Doesn't happen in the third year. This is my budget. Do you want to retain me or not?
But you just got promoted.
Maybe that must be a reaction to a situation. Not every time a resignation can be taken the wrong way.
So, salary increments and promotion are not an entitlement. Okay? We might be eligible for it, but if there is no opportunity in terms of funds or a position being open, it can't be given. Right? Like at BMC, we have so many lead writers, right, who I think are eligible to be a manager. But if I don't have an opening, how do I promote them? Right? So it's not an entitlement. It's about a lot of things coming together at the right time. Right? And if you are patient, in the long run, right? I'm talking 5 years plus. Okay? It all evens out. It all evens out. Okay? I have myself changed companies for money. Okay? When I was starting off in my career, I thought money was the big thing. Yeah, I truly believed that at that time. Now I don't believe so.
Because you might be not. See, my complaint is I'm just representing this law. That's not I mean, you can give this lecture because you are making managers. I'm a poor writer.
Sure, I know so many writers who get more than me.
Okay.
Okay? You know I have insight into that. Like there are writers who get more than managers. Okay, so salary is not that, but I'm saying in my experience, and I have so many friends who stuck on with a company long enough, where I have jumped thinking I'll be getting that slingshot with a higher salary and everything. But when I look back now, it's all evened out. Okay, they stuck there. The time came, the opportunity came. They got the growth, they got the salary hikes. It's all evened out. Okay, the difference is that they've been there long enough, and now they're called pillars. And I go to a company and I need to start establishing my credentials all over again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is, yeah, I'm loud enough, so that's okay. See, what Maghan was saying is theoretically possible. Theoretically it's fine. I listen to you and I can okay that. But practically in this particular thing, do you think it's okay? Or does it work? It doesn't work. The growth versus the remuneration, they both have to go hand in hand. You can't say that growth is separate and remuneration is separate. Secondly, just to add to that point, for example, if somebody says that, okay, I want growth, I just don't want money now, you can't say that, okay, I'll have to change bands to get that growth. So changing bands is automatically changing the money value. So that if you don't have, you don't get the bands, you don't grow. What kind of growth are you talking in the practical thing?
I don't know if I'll be answering your question, but take this situation. Maybe you are looking at a package of something like 20 lakhs and somebody gives you 30 lakhs. Are you happy? Will you commit suicide now? That you have achieved everything in your life? No.
What?
That if you get all the money that you ever thought you get in your life, if you start getting that money today, or you think that next 15 years of your career you should probably earn something close to 2.5 crores of rupees. I give you 5 crore rupees today. Will you retire? Will you stop living your life?
Retire, yes, not stopping my life.
Exactly. So your job is a part of your life and it's developing you. It's not only money that is related to growth.
No, I'm not saying. I said, theoretically I agree with what you said. But practically in an organization, do you think that growth versus the remuneration what you get,
Why do they have to be versus?
They have to go hand in hand. That's what I'm saying. Practically, it's not possible what you're saying that you can
see growth has got a number of things in its hand, not just remuneration. That's the point that I'm making. आपको लगता है कि अगर growth हुआ है तो पैसा भी बढ़ना चाहिए, या फिर पैसा तो बढ़ना ही चाहिए. You may actually have growth without an increase in salary.
That typically doesn't happen. I mean, that typically doesn't happen. Every level, career level, has a particular salary band associated with it.
You don't mean growth as a title change.
I don't mean growth as a salary change. I am saying that growth has got a lot of things related to it. You get more freedom, you get more decision-making power, you get more responsibilities, you get a team working for you, you get direct reportees, you get an opportunity to mentor a lot of people, and so on and so forth. And not every time you demand the situation that we said are going to allow for something to happen. You mean that every time you think you have grown, your manager should accept it and increase your salary?
It doesn't make sense, Makar. You're probably talking about the discretionary.
So I understand this. I understand
promotion.
There is also something called as the industry. There is also something called as the economy. They also drive your salary. Your salary is not driven based purely on what you have
I
learned.
think the moot point he's making is they go hand in hand. It can't be.
They do go hand in hand, correct?
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm saying is salary is not the only thing that goes hand in hand with growth. Growth has got many other attributes also.
So how many here whose manager has actually sat down with you and asked you what motivates you? I mean, in these terms, not guessed. Like, is it salary? Is it growth? Is it this? Is it that?
That's on BMC.
Let me take a chance.
So I'm delighted to see the hands up because at BMC we believe that the managers are really our HR folks, because our HR is very a lean organization. We have very few HR partners working. And managers are really the first line, they are really our HR folks that are doing all of this. And what we also say is that each of the employees, each individual employee is responsible for his or her own development and growth. So we have our career management portal, etc., where employees themselves have to take the initiative of putting in their development plans and working towards achieving those plans. And when we are talking about growth, that is where we would think that growth comes from, where you are clear as an individual what growth means to you, you're able to communicate that with your manager, and your manager ensures that you are going in the right track. And that, when you're talking about growth again, if you are doing well, you move to the next position. Compensation, remuneration, rewards will go hand in hand. But you have to be very clear what growth means to you, so as to allow your manager to help you grow. So, and that's why I said I'm very delighted that these conversations are happening, which means it is successful. So I'm really glad about that.
So I just want to add to Rasul's question once, okay?
So my next question is going to be to you.
How much would you spend for, say, a second-hand ambassador? 50,000, 40,000, 20,000? How much would you pay for a Ferrari? Maybe in crores, right? That's the price of the car. The growth of an individual is traveling from this point to that point, and not necessarily designation or salary. When you grow in terms of value, with the skill sets you have and what you're performing, the responsibilities will come, the money will come, and the designation will come. Okay? If you don't up your skill sets, your value is not increasing, so your salary will not increase. If you stay at that level, right, whatever level that is in terms of your skill, the HR has already given me a guideline in terms of how much I can pay that band. Right? There is a band, salary band given to all managers. So if you think this is the worth of the candidate, this is the band he is in, this is the salary range. Make sure it's within that and we're good. Right? So the only way all of us can ensure that we're getting promotions, getting hikes, is to perform. Right? I don't know what's the scale in each of your companies, but go for that O or E plus. That's the top 2 rungs, right? And be patient, and everything will come your way.
So you're saying experience doesn't matter?
If number of years was the only criteria, you know what India would be led by, right?
I think taking that same example forward, if you are an ambassador, no matter how many kilometers you run, you don't automatically become a Ferrari.
That was profound. Thank you. No, that's correct.
On this career planning aspect, just taking the lead from both of these guys. Again, at Capita, what we believe is, and this is what my managers also believe, is that we would like to make people more employable. And this is the culture which has been set into the organization. So we don't have anything like succession planning, career roadmap. We have given away these terminologies in HR. So what we have told our managers is, make your people employable. That's what we tell our employees also on the very first day of induction. We are not here to make your careers. HR is not here to lay a career graph for you. It is you who is responsible to build your career. And on that aspect of developing skills, so you either develop your skills, build on your skills, or you actually become obsolete. So if you want to stay in your place, keep yourself updated, keep performing, and things will fall in place. And we intentionally inculcate this from day one in the minds of the individuals. So tomorrow nobody should come back to me and say, oh Saurabh, you didn't prepare a career roadmap for me. No, I'm not responsible for that. You are responsible for that.
Yeah, I had a question, and this was working for the HR. The first company that I worked for, they had a practice wherein during the appraisals, it's not only, as you know, the appraisal happens for the managers as well, but you have to give a performance rating for your managers as well. So, and that is taken very seriously. Your scores are not known, and the manager will not know the rating that has been given by the team. He has to assign the rating in advance to his team members, and only then he comes to know the ratings given by his team members. And of course, it's confidential. So the manager does not know why or who has given him a low rating. So what that actually did, in a way, was it put the fear of God in both the sides. Not only the subordinates as well as the managers. So they actually, during and after appraisals, they always ensured that things were in place. I mean, they had meetings and things like that as to, is everything okay? So this was a process that was followed wherein the voice of the subordinates were also taken regarding their managers. So do you think, because I didn't see that happening in any other companies that I work for. So do you think it's a good idea, or if not, why?
Individually, if you ask me, something which is driven by fear is not really a right way of handling any situation. That's what the first point which I would like to make. Second is taking a feedback about if the process has happened in the right way is being done by majority of the organization in terms of performance effectiveness survey or performance management survey or something after the process is over, just to ensure that things fall in place. So probably that is one of the reasons why such kind of practice is not really followed by majority of the organizations. The third aspect which I would like to put forth is in many of the organizations, instead of having just a subordinate manager feedback, there have been processes or there have been initiatives such as 360 degrees feedback. So wherein the feedback not only comes from one subordinate, but probably comes from 2 or 3 subordinates. So it's a multi-layer feedback. So the biases, I mean again, it is a mechanism to even out the biases. So probably your 2 or 3 subordinates might rate you, couple of your peers might rate you, and of course your manager rates you. So that gives a holistic view about the manager instead of this only unidirectional or one directional feedback. So probably that is what my take is in terms of why it is not practiced.
So I would agree that you cannot have a fear instilled that you are going to be rated by your subordinates, so you better put your act together. It's more of building the culture of having discussions throughout the year and not just at a specific time during appraisals, because that builds unnecessary pressure on the system. The other thing I would like to also highlight, taking the discussion a little differently, is that I think everyone, every individual, every employee needs to know that their success is very important to the manager. For the manager to be successful, it is very, very important that each of the employees in the team, each of his team members succeed in the job that they're doing. I don't think any manager can be successful if the team is failing in some aspect. So it's almost like I would like to take the example of a tea bag. So the manager is like that, with the team he has to mix and make a good tea, and yet the strings are there somewhere. Someone else is pulling the string, right? So so the manager also has to report to someone. The manager has of course the deliverables are there that they have to meet. They also have to look at a lot of managing change, managing conflicts. There are at least in BMC we have a lot of org changes that happen from time to time. So the manager has to really look at all of those aspects and then take decisions. There are a lot of issues that they have to look at. They have to manage conflicts. So it's very difficult for the manager to always portray a very fair figure to everyone at every given time. So that's something else. I just wanted to put a different viewpoint about understanding what the manager's role is. And the bottom line is that unless each of the team members are successful, I don't think a manager will be called successful. And even for the manager to go to the next level, that is very, very critical.
I have a question for Saurav. Taking your point about the survey you conducted in Tata Technologies, this is a general scenario that I'm giving you. The discussion is all about why managers are not happy. But I'm putting a different scenario. In certain managers' teams, the entire team is not happy. For whatever reason, probably the manager micromanages beyond the limit, or he is very, very authoritative, or the team members do not have any freedom. Whatever reason, the entire team is not happy. In that case, most of the team members are not really open to approach HR because they think that their career will get affected instead of handling the actual situation. So why does that happen? And why don't the team members feel free to approach HR in such cases?
See again, I don't have a specific answer to this, but then what I would say is it's all about the culture which is built into the organization. And as an individual or as an employee, if you go with an intent to raise a concern, a genuine concern, I feel that it should be in the culture. But if you go with a genuine intent of raising a concern and having an answer to it, and not really escalating it to make it an issue, possibly in that case, depending on the genuinity of the situation, I think that that issue should get addressed, or that has to be instilled from the top. So it has to be a top-down approach. That openness, fairness has to be there within the environment around, and only then the employees would feel really happy to work in that place. Taking it a little further ahead, I would in fact advocate for the fact that if at all it's an organization-wide problem, and if there's no one who would want to change it, then possibly the only solution is you change the organization. You change the organization which you work. It might be a little blunt, but then possibly if nobody wants to change, then you better change for good.
I think this is also, and I'm not talking about a specific organization as such, But this is also a problem that comes out of you insisting on growth. A lot of people think that because I have served in this company for 5 years now, I should be a manager. And the person really doesn't have any management skills. And one thing that I really like about IT in general is there is a parallel track called as individual contributor. And individual contributors can go on getting higher salaries without becoming managers. This actually stops people, or this actually stops wrong people from becoming a manager. Yeah. Correct? I mean, sometimes my opinions are profound, so it's good to have an army of donkeys led by a lion than
But they also say hire smarter people than you. But they also say hire smarter people than you. So I think a donkey would be a successful manager if he hires all the lions. Isn't it? Anyway, so it's ready for you. If you think you're done with your questions, right, I would want to move on to the next one. So this is really your last opportunity. Anything on the back of your mind which you wanted to just ask when you meet some HR guy or some manager? Any questions from the audience? Okay.
I'll give you a brief background of myself. I've taken a break for 2 years. I'm on a hiatus, a sabbatical. And the reason is not because of having a baby or anything. I'm a single woman. And the reason is that I have to take care of my parents. And because of that. So why is it that the organizations don't treat this as a problem anymore? Why don't they recognize that caregiving is also a reason that people can take breaks?
I think it's a valid reason. I don't know why you're saying they don't recognize it.
I've given many interviews and I've approached many people. If I were to have a baby or I take a break because of being pregnant or something like that, that is taken, that is understood. Like it's a normal course of life. But I'm a single woman and I've taken a break because I don't have anybody else to take care of my ailing parents. That is one thing which is not taken seriously by the HR anymore. Or I mean the HR at all. So can you throw some light on that, please?
Well, if you're into the technology which Capita works on, you're most welcome. On this particular aspect, I was in a conference yesterday wherein I believe there were around more than 200 HR professionals from the IT industry across Pune. In fact, somebody from BMC was also there. And a similar topic was being addressed in terms of women who want to come back and work. For that matter, SAS Research, there was an HR head from SAS Research, and she made an open appeal in terms of if somebody has the right capabilities and the right skills, which could be honed, and people want to join back, they could approach that. So I think this might be in minds of few of the HR folks or few of the organizations. But then, if you look at progressive organizations, if you look at organizations who value employees or value people, value the talent, I don't see that as a challenge.
I just wanted to use this forum to throw some light that this is a very real situation these days. People generally have just 1 or 2 children, and then they don't have any old people don't have anybody to take care of them. So many times single people or otherwise they do have to take a break for this reason also. So that is something which needs to be highlighted.
It is highlighted at the required level. That's what I get, and that's an experience which I have had. So
yeah, I mean, as he introduced you, you're one of the most promising HR people. So I guess you'll go higher up and you'll be able to. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, just to add to what he was just mentioning, there are organizations who also promote working from home in terms of such issues. Again, I refer back to Capita or Tata Technologies for that matter because I've experienced it. When I was in Tata Technologies US, we had this culture that we used to allow people to work from home in such kind of circumstances, and we have allowed for people to work for like years together. So it all depends on the right organization, the progressive organization. And I sincerely feel that this has been highlighted at the right level in different forums. So there is a lot of information which is going around this.
Thank you.
Maybe
Makes me feel good.
interpreting it wrong.
Makes me feel good. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions?
One last
Okay.
question. Like as Matt mentioned mentioned that you should build a rapport with your manager and not treat him at the other side. But I mean, that's a valid point. I agree to it to some extent. But in a previous organization, I had seen that there are certain people who build a good rapport with the manager, and then there's a kind of favoritism which is coming in place, and the others who are just, I mean, they are not good in communication or whatever. They are just silent. So they are just silent, like silenced. And the one who is speaking a lot and taking credit, since just because it is affecting the project in a good way, they are promoted and they are given all the benefits. So what is your...
Why didn't you bring it up earlier? It's very on so many different...
I may ask you, are those people still with that company and that manager?
Yeah. They have got on-site opportunities. I mean, I have left that organization.
They have got on-site opportunities, which means the manager has changed.
No, both the managers and the colleagues.
See, even there, he carried them with him. Or she carried them.
And I mean, I'm also seeing them like helping them with shopping and you know what not. I mean, I couldn't even dream of those things. Like.
Why? Somebody smokes with you and he gets resistance.
In addition to that question, can I add to the question? I think the question is relevant.
See, what we are hearing as a group today, so it's one side of the story.
Yes, I think the same question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think the same question, when there is such a situation, it is pretty obvious and apparent that you can see that those things. Like she said, they're seeing shopping together. I mean that's like beyond outside the office. But sometimes inside the office also you have certain things that you can observe. So so this question shifts from you to this side of this side. So does HR play a role in terms of keeping a watch on those kind of things, and how do they even figure it out? Because it's very difficult.
I'll answer the first part of the question and the HR part later. What we heard is only one side of the story, right? You said that they were just talking and the manager was doing favoritism and giving him all the benefits. We haven't heard the manager's story or evaluated that other person in question. Okay? For every person that somebody has to give a hike to or promotion, there are at least two levels up that need to be justified, right? I just don't take out a promotion from my pocket and say, here, enjoy. I have to justify it to my manager, and at the functional level also, we have so many normalization and justifications to be done, and then HR has their own scale through which it has to fit. So I really don't see how somebody can do outright favoritism and get away with it, because there are enough checks and balances in place. Smoking together, shopping together, going out for lunch together, those are nice social things. I mean, that has got no implications on what happens in office, right? I go out with my team almost every week, sometimes twice a week. We get so tired of eating out, right? But that doesn't mean I don't shop with them.
I don't think that's a problem. The problem is if you do it with only a specific set of individuals and not with everybody. If you go out and eat with everybody, that's fine, you're a great manager. But I think
let me put it this way, right? So if I'm going smoking, I go with Prasoon because he's the only smoker. If I want to visit the gym, then I'll make sure Ravi comes with me because he's the only one who goes there, right? If I want to buy a scarf for my wife, I'll take one of the girls from my team because they're the only ones informed about it. So just because I didn't take the other one along doesn't mean I'm playing favorites.
Yeah, in fact, just to add on to what you just mentioned, is as a manager, the role is, as I said, he's sitting on the fence, so he has to pick up or he has to, play that card of, going or just taking the exam with the right person. Again, it is the right person for the right job or for the right task. So, as a manager, he has to ensure that, again, I connect it back to my first statement which I made, that you need to know your team very well. So if you know the strengths and the areas of improvement for your team, then obviously you could give different strokes for the different folks in your team. So that judicial approach has to be there for the manager, and when it comes to the again, it also boils down to the value system of an individual, I believe. So I mean it's a little sensitive topic, but then it boils down to the value system which every individual cherishes. So if it's in your value system to have a fair approach, then probably going out shopping, going out on dinner or going out on lunch should not really affect the work. As he said that he would shout at his team members where it's required. So it has to be a very practical, open and transparent way of handling things. I believe that crux of the problem is communication and transparency. We don't communicate, so it's not a two-way communication. So we keep the information with us, the employees keep the information with them, and that's where the misunderstanding starts.
Right. I think that's a right note to close at. I think most of the times you are, it's thrown at you instead of being done with you by taking you into confidence as to why I'm doing it with that person, right? And this was an attempt to kind of show each other the other side. And thanks a lot for being a part of this, and thank you all for being a part of this.